just joined us, repeat your question again. Your observation and then your question. Say.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Shem, one thing I've observed with the people who have left this way is that they lacked that characteristic of generosity you speak of. They don't give zakat, or they don't pay school fees, and a range of things similar to this.
And I asked you the question, do I demand it of them?
You've never asked the Shem.
It is known that there are things that needs to be done, but we don't tell people what it is. Even just now, when we're speaking about firewood, I have to say, for those one who are serious now, this is everyone's responsibility. It is not fair now. All the burden is carried by 1, 2, or 3 people. This is a Jamaat, everyone has to, even firewood. And there's a lot of benefit, a lot of sawab that comes from keeping a believer warm, feeding a believer, keeping a believer cool, doing these things. So I never ask. And you say that you see this characteristic in them, those who leave, they are, or they have been when they were with us, also increasingly more and more stingy.
And my question is, now in this society where individualism and selfishness is pushed so
Ask
much.
that hadith that you're saying. What Sahib al-Saif is saying.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Shem, you've mentioned many times the saying of Sahib al-Saif that the believer that has stinginess in his heart,
The believer that has stinginess in his heart.
he cannot die with faith. And
How heavy is that? How heavy is that? A believer that has stinginess in his heart, if he doesn't fix it, he cannot die with real faith. And the unbeliever,
that has generosity in his heart,
unbeliever, but he has generosity in his heart. Yes?
that faith will enter his heart before he dies.
Faith will enter into his heart before he dies. Is generosity one of the endless treasures belonging to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it? Of course. He gives it to whomever he wills. Yes? Is stinginess, hasha, astaghfirullah, a characteristic of Allah? No. Is a believer supposed to be generous? Yes. Because a believer believes in Allah, His Prophet, books, etc. Correct?
Yes.
And Allah, His Prophet, and the books, and the angels, and everything else that makes up the fundamentals of our belief, do they have that characteristic of generosity? Of course, they must. Allah is Kareem, Nabil Kareem, and our Shaykh is Abdul Kareem, Alhamdulillah. And that generosity is not just about money, it's about everything else that you have to be generous with. So it's very heavy. The unbeliever who has generosity in his heart, and if he dies, he's not going to die until some faith is going to enter into his heart, because that generosity is going to save him. It reminded me of one of Shaykh Maulana's sohbats also, saying that generosity in these days, very dark times, is the only thing that will save a lot of unbelievers. If they are generous, some shafa'at is going to be sent to them. Someone is going to pray on their behalf. Of course. What if it's an unbeliever, but the unbeliever says, I want to be generous to Muslims, children, this and that. It happens, yes? You think those ones who are the recipients of that generosity, Allah allows it to reach to poor people who are Muslims, but they get it from non-Muslims. You think they are not going to pray for the benefactor? Of course they will. It is up to Allah to accept or not, but Allah is also the most generous, and He's going to be generous to those ones who are Mazlum, those ones who are orphans, those ones who are poor. Yes? He listens to their du'as. Isn't that going to be a safety for so many unbelievers? We're not saying, I'm not saying now, in case somebody's going to twist my words and say, oh, they're going to die with shahadat, with Muslim. We're talking about faith. And the faith is also from one of the treasures of Allah, Allah is going to give. We cannot judge. We cannot say we guarantee we're going to die with faith. You cannot judge and you cannot guarantee that that one will die without any faith. But there are things that you do that will make it more secure that you will die with faith. There are things that you do that makes it more secure that you will die of unfaith. Yes? Because one thing, the stinginess, it eats away into the heart. So, your question?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So my question now is, in this society where selfishness and individualism is pushed so heavily, how can we keep and build generosity in our hearts and in the hearts and the culture of our children here, to share, to not say, this is mine, you can't have from this?
Number one, I have to say that so many things this country lacks, so many things this American civilization is faulty, but there are many things that are also good, especially in these times. And one of the things that I see is the sense of generosity amongst people living in this country. They are generous. When you compare to other countries, it's all in comparison. They abide by the law, generally speaking, the people. They will stand up for other people's rights. Even if those rights are wrong rights, they will stand up for it because they say you have a right also to express. And those laws will also make provision that whatever life that you lead, whatever religion or belief system that you have, the law will protect you to believe the way that you want to be believed. No one has the right, not the government or anyone else, to force you. That shows an extreme sense of wisdom. Not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying generally this is how it is. Especially when you compare to certain countries, whether it's Asian or Western, Muslim or non-Muslim, European, you compare communist or capitalist, doesn't quite come close to how it is here in this country. However, it is right what you said, that although that there isn't this overwhelming desire here, as far as I'm seeing the culture in this country, overwhelming desire, there's no overwhelming desire to be in luxury. You have that in much more stratified society where there's lower class, upper class, royalty, this, that, then everybody looks to the highest and everybody wants to be like kings, royalty, luxury. But for the most part, you'll see, for the most part, Americans are moderate. They have this, they have this, they have this, it's enough. The fashion of how the millionaires and the billionaires that they want to present to the world, even from the outside, is dictated by America. It's not by Europe. And how they dress is like everyone else. T-shirt and jeans. Never mind T-shirt costs a few $100s or whatever, but the look itself, they don't try to look like royalty. So there is this thing that is here in American culture that is saying, what you have, it's okay. We're not chasing to look better than your neighbors, to race with your neighbors, to race with the other culture. No. However, there is a lack of a sense of community in this country. And the community, whether it's from neighborhoods, schools, regions. Maybe some people say, oh, I live in Brooklyn. So what? It's not as if Brooklyn people, they get together every night and they tell stories and they help each other. You don't have that. Whereas you have a strong sense of belonging in different parts of the world. If you come from this region, they're very proud of this region. This region in Turkey or this region in Europe, they're very proud. Here, because the system allows you for great mobility, and it's always about going away to do whatever you want to do, it allows you. You're safe, you can do that, reinventing yourself, doing this, this, this. So nobody really stays put in one place. Today they're East Coast, tomorrow they'll be West Coast. The next day they can go to Alaska. It's okay. Nobody says why you are here. There is also the spirit of this continent. It's not just a country, it's a continent. It's huge, it's wide. And you can appear if you want, you can disappear if you want. But due to this fluidity and mobility, when you have too much of that, then you lack cohesion. So you lack that kind of community. When you lack that kind of community, then people know the system allows you to reinvent yourself or your family or whatever, but system doesn't force you or encourage you to only be within one circle, one area, one group. It doesn't. And when that happens, people don't know how to live with each other. When it comes to living in a community, let's say a simple example of a Muslim community where you have a masjid and many Muslims live there. Or say, let's have a Muslim village. Like they have Christian towns. Yes, they do have that, right? Okay. They have Jewish towns and villages, right? Very small, you have Muslim villages or towns, very small. There's a bit here and there, maybe even a city, but it's very small compared to that, the other ones that we're doing. And this is not something that the Muslims here in this country, they also want. There's no running to have a Muslim community. And when you do, because people belong to different ideas, different ethnicities, different understandings, it's difficult then people to be one another, although they are all Muslims. And especially today when you throw at it, some people are more Salafi, some people are more Wahhabi, some people are more Shia, some people are Sunnis, and then it becomes, then what are we combining for? What are we doing? So when people don't know how to live together, they don't know how to give and take. And when people don't need anything from anyone, they're not going to take anything. Everything my job is going to provide, they think what I need is only material. I don't need anything material from anyone. America gives that, yes? Whatever materiality that you need is from your job. You don't need material things from people. When you don't have things that bind you like that, and you don't feel the need to have a Muslim Jamaat that sees each other every day, that has their lives intertwined with one another, that has a future, that has their children, that have their children grow up together, that they're committed to one another, that they're not going to say, okay, now I'm going to go, now I have a better job, better this, better that, or I don't like you, I'm going to go. That they're committed to each other by choice. The most difficult thing is when you're given by choice. When you don't have that, then the American system that allows you to be mobile because you don't need anything, right, will make you to become, yes, more centered about yourself, what you want, instead of what the Jamaat wants, what the community wants. Because there's nothing you need from the community. And I've said this before, you guys are here, but there's nothing that binds you here also, except for the, and this is not a small except, it's a big, except for the bayat that we gave, that we pronounce the words of Allah to say, Allah's hand is over our hands. And we We believe and we want our lives to be together because there's a future. Because we made a promise, and this is not our future, this is the future that the friends of Allah, our Shaykh, had said, this is what's going to happen for the Akhir Zaman. We're part of a bigger picture. Even so, living here, let's say we agree to all of this. Even so, if you live here long enough, if you have lived here, you're born here, or you lived here, and you are being affected by all of this, you'll still be selfish. If you don't understand what is that selfishness, self-centeredness. When you say, I need this person, I need this person, I need this person, I need this person, and I cannot be without them. That's the time you start being like a family. That you can say anything can happen, but we cannot break up this family. Yes? But the family is not just you, who you marry and by blood. The family now, you go to what Allah says, only the believers, they are brothers. Brothers meaning their family. The family is now spiritual family, and you say, whatever happens, I'm not going to break this. One day up, one day down, left, right, doesn't matter, I'm not going to break this, because I commit and I need this. You believe that, and you start looking to see how you behave according to that too. Day by day, week by week, month by month. Year by year. Then you're going to say, not enough that I say I am, I must do. Not only I'm going to believe, I'm going to have faith, I'm going to have iman in this, now I have to put in the actions, the fundamentals of that. Just like we have iman and then we have Islam. And you have all the rukuns of Islam, all the fundamentals of Islam, you do it. You don't just believe it, you have to do. And it's not only that, but you have to do it now with sincerity. And that again is the ihsan part of it. You have to do it with sincerity. Not just body you are here, but heart you are not here. Okay, he says I have to be here, I have to chop wood. Okay, I'm going to chop wood. Because he's saying everyone has to be, okay, I'm going to do here. They chop wood. No, it's not going to work for you too. Sincerity has to be there. You have to understand why you're doing it. And this is when you understand what causes you to fight against that, the necessity of being in a jamaat, the necessity of helping each other. It is your ego. Now, then there is a point now. There is a jihad. There is a struggle. The greatest struggle is against your ego. The greatest jihad is against the jihad of your ego. Against yourself. Now the self, the ego, wants to be by himself, for himself. Alone. No, I say no. That time you start understanding, needing each other, loving each other, and saying, I'm not going to let go. One day is like this, one day is like this. And because we're a family now, I'm going to also measure. I'm going to, how you say? Measure my emotions. I cannot be too upset like this because they're family too. I cannot break it. Everything has to be now, the foundation is the love that is there. The foundation has to be in the belief, in the way of the awliyas. You get fed up, like with your family, but after a while you say, okay, when you cool down, there is a time when you cool down. You look at it, it's not such a big deal. You can deal with this now. And that time you start working. Ya Jami. You start working as a Jamaat. Because if there's one thing America is going to teach you is how to be individualistic. You don't need anything. You can do everything by yourself. And the system proves it. Now how do we take that? Yes, to be to be independent, to be strong, but also to know that you need a Jamaat. This is the difficulty. Because whatever that is binding us here, they are not visible. There are many places we've been to where you see, oh, mashallah, the community is so tight, everyone is living here. Oh, the family, everyone lives next to each other, mashallah, this is good. But when you look at it properly, they're only doing that because they do not have the opportunity to go out. They don't have the opportunity, the job, the work, the house, the car to move out from there. If they do, they're going to be the first ones to move out. They are there stuck in those neighborhoods because there is no opportunity. Now, in America, every opportunity is given to you. The system makes sure you have that opportunity. So those ones who still say, with these opportunities, we believe and we want and we need this Jamaat, those ones now, as what Shaykh Effendi had said so many times, yes, the Muslims now living in the West, the strength and the power of the faith of one Muslim living in the West in the Akhir Zaman is more than so many living in Muslim countries. Because what the people in the West they're up against is definitely more than in so many Muslim countries. Now, how are you going to teach them this? They're young. How do you become a family? You have to be familiar. Same root word, yes? You have to be familiar. So the young, our kids, they're going to look at you. If you are not familiar, you keep to yourself, you don't have any friends, you always talk bad about someone else in front of them. They see you don't have any friends, you always keep to yourself, a small clique, or you always complain about other people, they are going to follow. Easy. They say, oh, Baba is like this, he doesn't like this one, he thinks this one is dumb, this one is stupid. That's what he says. It's Anne saying that also. So they're going to stay like that. Doesn't matter if it's a big family or a Jamaat or something. They hear you saying that, they see you doing that, they're going to be like that too. Even if they have a lot of friends, maybe they like, but then they see there's a dissonance now, yes? But the people that I love and I trust the most, they don't like anyone here. I like someone here. That's a problem here. They're going to be two minds. They're going to be psychotic about it. But if they see you, you make an effort, and you are doing it, you're having friends, you're having people, you are aware whatever you speak, that they are going to listen. That maybe you cannot help it. You say some wrong things. You shouldn't be in front of them. They don't understand the whole context. They believe everything you say. But you say, okay, you say this, but you must also say many other good things because you know it must be balanced in their minds. That time you're watching your kids and you're watching yourself. You're being responsible. The kids, you let them play. They must be familiar with each other, with their friends. But you are the ones, through your mouth, they don't know, they're okay, that they are going to call their friend this, this, and this because they heard you saying it. And when they say something bad, because they heard someone else saying it too, that's why they just repeat it. So many of them, especially at a young age, they'll repeat bad things without knowing what it is. And sometimes, most times, they repeat bad things because they know it's naughty. They'll get a rise out of you or their friends. But they don't understand the implications. We have to teach them what the implications are. So this is about raising children. So easy. Everyone's saying, whole village raise one kid. Since when America was a village? Now you see what kind they have. But Allah is still saving them because the younger generations are also sifting through every kind of BS that is happening in this whole country, and they're understanding now the root cause of it. Now their sense of right and wrong kicks in, and they say whatever it is, whatever we say that we are, black, white, brown, yellow, Republican or Democrat, capitalist or this or that, there are certain basic right and wrong. And we cannot accept what is everyone saying it's okay, this is wrong. For example, Gaza. This is wrong. So there is still there in the hearts of our young ones, it's still there, whether the believers or unbelievers that Allah puts, because they are looking, they are searching. They haven't been swallowed by the system yet. And this system is teaching our kids to always question anyway. So now, it's too late for them to close the bag. And they don't have the answers. And the kids know the answers that they're going to give us. Now, it is all wrong. Now they're saying, we're going to make sure that they're going to make it a law in so many other places. Anti-Zionism is equal to anti-Semitism. And the most vocal people who are going to challenge this, they're not going to be Muslims. They are the Jews themselves who are critical of the Zionist system and say this doesn't represent us. Whether they are Jewish by just tradition and not religion, or they're religious Jews. But not the Muslims. Something is wrong. So let our kids to be familiar with each other. And we're going to teach our kids what is the other. There's no such thing in Islam. Because in Islam we are bound and our spirits are the same. But how Allah now gives the gifts to the people in China, certain gifts to people in India, certain gifts to the people in Africa, in Europe, in Asia. Because every race, every ethnicity, Allah has put a secret there that other ethnicities they don't have. And the reason why we are different is for us to find each other and to learn from each other. And isn't that what we are doing here? We could easily not do this. Just stick with our own family, own small group, probably our own co-religionists or our own people from our own ethnicities, but never this. And we're not going to teach our children that too. But our Shaykh is saying this is what the path that we have to go in the last days. Akhir Zaman. And we're running now to fulfill that ayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let them know we have to teach. I saw something. They say, yeah, somebody was holding up a card saying, you have to binge watch your children. Binge watch your children all the time. People, they stay up 1 day, 2 days, they don't do anything, they watch something, I don't know, right? They say that, but this is coming from Muslims? No. From the non-Muslims, they're saying, you have to, the same way that you are so interested in some foolish thing, that so many other things is all fiction, the word is there, it means lies. They say, you must binge watch your children, watch them, observe. Then you start raising them. Then when you start doing that, and other people are doing that, you bounce off each other. And now, yes, the whole Jamaat is now taking care of each other, watching. We're still trying to learn that, of course, because it kicks in sometimes. I'm too tired. I'll just stick to this. Scroll. I work whole day. I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to come to the masjid. I'm not going to have zikr. I'm not going to have sohbat. I'm not going to. You understand? And like I said, we don't put a law here. But we say if you are here, if you live next to the masjid, next to Masjid al-Haram, next to the Rawza Sharif, if you don't go to the Rawza Sharif, you don't see any value in that, none of the blessings are going to reach to you. And now it's only not being here physically, you have to put your heart here. Then you must know what this is giving, you must believe in it. And you must practice then, show what you believe. Yes, one day, this is not paradise. This is a training center. One day is up, one day is down. It's okay. But who is leading our caravan? It's Shaykh Maulana, it's Sahib al-Saif. It is the orders from the Holy Prophet ﷺ. How can the caravan be wrong? How can the path be wrong? And thus that one has completely lost his faith. And what can we do? And the one who's lost his faith, he's lost his generosity a long time ago anyway. Then you teach your kids to be generous. You say, because when they are growing up in a big community, they have to be generous too. They have to know, oh, this one I cannot push these buttons. This one is more agreeable. This one is not. The kids will learn politics at a young age. It makes them very intelligent. And they'll know there are certain characteristics belonging to certain ethnicities. Good, some not so good. Everyone has good and bad in them. So they learn how to navigate that. But we must teach them the sweetness of giving. How do we do that? We give. When we give, we say, now take this and give to someone else. When they give to someone else and someone else is so happy, they say, you see, it's nice. What is their first relationship with money? Let's say, for example, or candy. Yes, we give, but are we teaching them to say, now take 2, give this to your younger sister, give this to? Are we even saying, now, everyone's candy, okay, we give? Are we even training them to say, you want? Okay, now, but take this first, give to this one, give to this one. In a nice way, not ordering. And then this is for you. And then you boost them, oh, very good, you give to others first. You teach them. You remind them. And you remind them, not only by saying, oh, these poor people here, there, no, around. Then when they are fighting and they're angry, say, no, you cannot be. This is wrong. Or when someone does something wrong to them, and they get angry, and say, okay, you have a right to be angry, but Allah is saying now we have to forgive. If they see you forgiving, it's very easy for them. If they see you always not forgiving, always keeping a grudge, they'll say, I'm going to do that too. Like they say, charity begins at home. All this we are learning from our Shaykh, from his whole life that he's been with us. In every moment that he's dealing with people, young and old, male and female, different ethnicities, we're understanding how to do it, and we take what is necessary. But they have to be familiar with everyone. The more we say, no, it's just ours, no, just this, they never learn. And we teach them, not everything that you want is good for you. Not everything you want you should get. And you should learn how to share. The relationship with money has to be first this, sadaqah box. Not give money and then go to the shop and buy something, no. They will get that later on. But the first association, they see you every day putting something into the sadaqah box, and you say, then you give them, say, put that. So the first association is sadaqah. That's a big thing. Candy is to give to other people because they see Shaykh is giving, you are giving, they're giving. Then they learn. It feels good. They have to feel good because it's coming from Allah. Then once you teach them that it is better to give, then they learn that generosity. That even when they are taking, even when things are given to them, that the better thing is to give. We say to our kids too. Yeah, so many times you say, okay, you get presents. Did you give this one a present? Did you give this one a present? You were taking it. Yes, okay, you got a lot of candy. Then did you give that one a candy? Did you give the one? You teach them this. They can be taught. Then inshallah it becomes second nature to them. Ya Allah forgive us inshallah. May Allah make us to become more generous and to have more intelligence inshallah, in order to put our ego under our feet and for us always to be under the feet of our Shaykh. Wa min Allahu tawfiq al-Fatiha.